Bam. We're live on the YouTubes. Welcome. Bam. We're live on TikTok. Welcome. Let's get the screen share going. For those of you on the YouTube. Cool. All right. Good there. Got that going. All right. It's a little late on a Sunday night. It's a holiday weekend too. All right. Get started here. Just a second. Welcome. We're just getting started. Takes a minute or two to get everybody fired up. Here's what we're working on tonight. Guess that doesn't really help you because it's backwards. All right, so let's get started. Hopefully you guys are remodelers or contractors. Otherwise, you might not really care what I have to say. All right. So these are 3 lies that I believed for a while. And I think that it's pretty common in the industry, especially, look, if you guys are in any of the Facebook groups and you go into the comment section, I mean, the stuff you hear, so many guys say the same stuff, you start believing it and you're thinking that must be true. And you have to add this caveat. At the end of the day, less than 10% of remodelers are pretty successful, right? 50% go out of business in 3 years, 70% or more go out of business within like 5 to 7, 90% go out of business within 10. It's probably like 95%, to be honest. So the average remodeler is not doing that well. They are struggling. And they are then giving bad suggestions and bad advice on a lot of these Facebook groups. So you go in there thinking, oh, I want to get some help. I want to learn something. And then you're getting bombarded with more bad advice. So then you go and implement bad advice and you're like, this sucks. And you think it's you. You think what's happening is you're listening to the wrong things, right? And it's okay. Like it happens to all of us because we don't know who to ask. We don't know what to do. And often you don't learn what you should have done until it's too late, right? For one reason or another, some people survive, they make it. And a lot of guys in this industry, the ones that are successful, they don't say anything. They keep it quiet because they don't want anybody else learning what they learned because they want to keep the success to themselves. They're like, fuck it, I've worked really hard to get here, right? There you go, my man. You got it, Eddie. You just keep going, dude. If you fail enough times, you figure it out. That is absolutely correct. And look, there's a lot of guys in the industry that they've been hard-headed and they are resilient, and that's why they also survive because they've done it enough times to learn what you shouldn't do. And when you learn what you shouldn't do, you start to figure out what you should do. So, all right, let's get into it. Let me jump down. I'll be quick tonight because I know some of you guys are probably relaxing. You got a nice, hopefully you're off tomorrow. But you know, some guys got to work. I hear that. So here's the deal. These are the 3 big myths, right? And why this matters. See, if you're still going house to house and you're still taking calls and doing free estimates and hoping, that's why I joke, right? I'll say some of you guys have a hopium addiction. You are addicted to hope. Well, I hope if I just go there. And it didn't sound so good over the phone, but I hope if I show up, I can convince them. Or I hope I'm going to make some profit at the end. Or I hope everything's going to go smoothly because, the margins are razor thin on this job. Yeah, exactly, Eddie. You're like in my hope is not a strategy. So, like, be straight. Some of you guys, you have a hopium addiction. And look, I don't mean to not be positive, right? You do want to be positive, but you have to be honest with yourself to set yourself up with a good strategy going forward. All right, so let's see what else we got here. So stop hoping that if you give all this information, detailed line items, and email everything, that they're going to call you back and hire you. You're playing the wrong game. You're making the game way more difficult than it has to be. And I understand why people do it. I did it myself. It's because of fear. We're afraid to stand firm because we don't see a lot of other people doing it. We're afraid to say, whoa, 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 we're not going to do it that way. This is how we're going to do it. However, respect comes when you stand up for what is good and when you come across as a professional and confident and you stick to your process. And when you start doing things differently from the other contractors, homeowners sit back and they respect it and they can see that you're leading and they trust that. And that's what they want at the end of the day. They say they want cheap price. It's because they don't know what else to ask for. They don't. What they want is confidence. But most of them won't say that to you. They don't tell you, well, we really just want the guy who's going to get the fucking job done for us. They don't say that, right? But that's at the end of the night, the homeowner doesn't want to be worried sick. And especially if it's a husband and wife, a lot of times the wife is a warrior and they are like, it's their home. They're inviting you into their house. And this is the place where their whole family gathers. And the last thing they want is some stranger coming in, ripping all the crap apart, and they don't know when they're going to get it back. And that, people don't like having guests in their house long term. It's fun for a couple hours, you know, you have a little party, but you don't want the person living there for 6 months if they don't have to. Does that make sense? All right. Free Palestine. Yeah. Harris, you might be in the wrong group. So if you keep it up, I'll have to kick you out. All right, buddy. Here we go. So today is about flipping your sales script in order to be the trusted expert. Because a lot of us, we're not losing jobs because of our price. Hear that. It's not your price. You're losing it because of what you are believing and the way you're approaching sales. And look, I get it. Some guys go into the industry and they're like, I hate selling. I don't want to be a salesperson. And that is what you're most likely talking about, is being a salesy guy, like a used car salesman. Nobody wants that. Here's what you have to understand. In any transaction in life, whether you're dating, going to a restaurant, employee, employer, sitting down, talking with a client, there is always influence. Somebody's influencing the other. And think about this for a minute. You present a price to the homeowner. You say, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, your kitchen should cost $45,000. They say to you, no, Joe, you should do it for 40. And if you lower your price, they're selling you. They influenced you. It's not supposed to be that way. You're supposed to be the professional. You are supposed to help educate and influence them. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, I hear you. And yeah, a lot of other people thought it was supposed to be 40. And it could be 40. What would you like me to take out so that we can be 40? Or we could do it as you've discussed. I can put all the things that you want, and it's going to cost 45, maybe even 50, right? It's so who's going to influence who? Somebody is influencing someone at the end of the day. So you may not want to talk about sales. You might say, I hate sales, but somebody is selling something. The homeowner's selling you or you're selling them. So please hear that. I'll just sell something fast with sales. There you go, Harris. All right. So these are the 3 myths, and this happens all the time. And here's the thing. The lowest price wins. That is BS. I'm going to tell you right now, if you go back, let's say you have 50 leads that you went on and you didn't get the job, and the homeowners told you that you were the most expensive. If you go back and interview the clients, call them up, drive by their house, say, hey, I want to check on that project that you did. What was the total cost at the end of the day? Remember, I bid this. You told me it was too expensive. You will be shocked at how many of them either spent about what you were charging or more. Even though at the time they might have told you it was too expensive. The homeowner saying that you're too expensive is the same as the customer that walks into like the store and says to the salesperson, I'm just looking. You know damn well they're there to buy something, but they don't want to be sold, right? So the customer says, I'm just looking. Then they relax, they go find what they want, then they come back and buy it. In remodeling, the way the homeowner says, I'm just looking, is you're too expensive. All right. It's a defense mechanism so that they can feel safe and they don't have you pouncing on them. All right. So clients don't want cheap, they want certainty. They want to know that if they hand you the key to their front door to do a kitchen, that you're going to come in, rip out what's there, and put all the new crap in and hand them the key back and be out of their house as quick as possible, right? 6 weeks to 2 months, let's say, unless you're doing some sort of an addition. And it's all going to go smooth and you're going to take care of the details. That's the certainty that they want. If you can provide and demonstrate that you can provide that, price goes away. People will spend more when they get peace of mind. So again, that's what clients really buy, is peace of mind. They want to feel relaxed, confident. That's why they go to Starbucks. Look, I can get free coffee at any of the big box stores every morning. Home Depot, ProDesk, Lowe's, Pro Services. You go in that side of the building, there's free coffee there. Who's getting that? The coffee's shit. Nobody wants that coffee. You know what I mean? So people want good stuff. That's why they'll pay $7 to $10. Now, what do you do instead? You can use AI here to help guide you. So AI can be like your business partner, and you can go in and you can help it produce a comparison grid, and it'll show why your process reduces change orders, why your process reduces miscommunication, why your process reduces costly delays, why your process is low risk. If you've been here before, King Wheat, they spend 40. Yes, exactly. They'll spend 40K on the cabinet because they trust something about the cabinet. And King, I'm going to add a thing to that. Years ago, I got a laptop before, over 20 years ago, I got myself a nice little laptop, and I would bring it in to the house when most people didn't. Most guys were doing pen and paper. And when the homeowner asked me how much something would cost, I would say, well, I don't know. I'll have to figure it up on the laptop because I use software, and the software will tell me how much it costs. And I would give homeowners weird numbers. Like I would say to them, their kitchen's going to cost $65,438. And the homeowners would look at me and they would trust that price because it came out of the software, and it was a weird number. It wasn't 45,000 or 5,200, right? It's when you do this, the homeowner starts to trust it more because they don't feel like it's you selling, it's the software. So that's one thing to think about too along those lines. All right, so back to the AI. You can use AI to help you come up with a comparison. So if a homeowner is saying something to you about price or cheapness, you have to help them understand that there is, and I've talked about this before, so bear with me if you've heard it, but some people haven't. In contracting, you have high risk to the homeowner. All the problems could go wrong. The contractor could ghost them. There could be a slew of change orders. The guys might come up high, might have criminal backgrounds. Who knows where the workers are even coming from? The company might not be insured, right? And they might never finish the job. It might end up in lawsuit or in court system. High risk, low initial price. Initial price. Because we all know that there are contractors out there that fish and they dangle the low price to the homeowner as bait. They say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, I'll do it for cheaper. And as soon as they get the homeowner hooked and they sign the deal, the first week, there's like 15 change orders all of a sudden. Nope, that's wasn't included. That's 5,000 extra. And the next thing you know, that contractor is getting more than you. Now, so to help you defeat that, you let the homeowner know up front, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I would be leery of anyone who comes in here too cheap, because what they're trying to do is hook you with the bait. They know that you want the cheapest, and they're going to say, here it is. And then as soon as you bite, it ain't going to be the cheapest. They're going to be the most expensive, right? And then let them know how most lawsuits across America, anyone can look this up in if your local jurisdiction across the country, almost all homeowner and contractor lawsuits involve the homeowner choosing the lowest priced contractor. You almost never hear of the homeowner saying they were the most expensive, they were the best. No, because those contractors get the job done. So you explain to the homeowner that you want the lowest risk because you want the job completed, done right the first time in the time frame that we specified, and built above bare minimum, right? Explain to them how if you build something to code, that's like getting a D plus or C minus. That's the bare minimum. And you explain, I'm not saying I need to build you the Taj Mahal, which would be the A plus, but you should really want to be getting a solid B for this project, right? That's what works, a solid B. And that's what we provide. So yes, we might be just a couple $1,000s more than that other guy, but look how much more you're getting. We are the bargain. They're the ripoff because they're just a little bit cheaper, but their quality is crap. The risk is through the roof. It's up here. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. All right. All right. Also, people want to see your true passion for the industry. I recommend you explaining to homeowners why you got into the business, like what your passion is about. For many of us, like I got into the business because I liked solving problems for homeowners. And when they heard of that, when they hear that, they think that's awesome. And they're like, yeah, that's really cool that you can do that. Like you have most of you guys here have a gift. You can do something that the homeowner can't. You can solve their problem with the house. And when you explain to them how that makes you, you get satisfaction from that, right? Like for some people, it's part of their religious experience. They want to give back to their community, to give to others. However you present that, you let people know that you want to be in service, and this is the way you go about that. Those things become powerful, and homeowners will buy into that emotionally. So keep those types of things in mind when you're talking to them. All right. Likability is important, and charisma. Don't be so deadpan, and don't go in being worried, anxious, and afraid. Homeowners pick up on that. And I've been there. Like when I was struggling in the beginning and every job was like life or death, like if I don't sell this and make money, we could be going out of business in 3 weeks, right? Homeowners pick up on that because you have this anxiousness and nervousness, and it's not relaxing. The homeowner, they might not know it consciously, but you guys have experienced this subconsciously. You can pick up when somebody's having a rough experience. Whereas if you can come into their house and be relaxed and helpful and educate and just without pressure, share some stuff and say, well, we've had other homeowners that, had this big problem and we felt very fortunate to be able to solve the problem for them. And they were super happy. They liked how we got the job done on time. They liked how we come in. This is important to my business. We explain to homeowners that once we start your job, we are staying on your job. Right? I'm not going to just send a guy here one day on Monday and then you won't see him again until next Monday because we're trying to do 7 jobs at once. My company might have 17 jobs going on, but the crew that comes here, they're going to work your job from start to finish. Homeowners want to hear things like that. It makes them feel safe and secure because this is something they're afraid of. All right. So something else you can do. You guys seem to be picking up what I'm putting down. You want to give the best experience and let your work also speak for itself, right? You'll hear that. So don't be giving away your expertise for free. That confuses the homeowner. When you start offering to give all these free estimates and detailing out and breaking everything down for free, they're like, well, I thought he was a professional. And whereas when you start explaining to homeowners, Mr. and Ms. Smith, we can do a detailed paid planning session where you'll get all these details that you might be asking for. I explained to them that we're not going to be able to break down every single price item. I can possibly give you an allowance. And I asked them, is there something specific that you really need to know the price of? Well, what is it? Maybe it's cabinets. Okay. I can give you a range and we'll give you an allowance for the cabinets. But that's it. I'm not breaking down electric, I'm not breaking down plumbing. I may, if the homeowner really, let's say their son is an electrician, they really want the son to do the job. I will say, look, I have your estimated electric cost between X and Y. Let me talk with your son. Let me make sure his insurance is up to date. Let me talk to some of his customers and see if he has a good name in the industry. I'm going to talk to the county inspectors and see if he does good work. If all that comes back and he passed the sniff test, then maybe we can allow him to do the work. But then there's some other documentation that you have to get into if you're going to do that. So I'm not saying I never make any adjustments, but otherwise I am not breaking out prices. Okay. This is, you want the cake? This is how much the cake costs. If you want to make the cake yourself, you can go buy all the stuff and you can be Betty Crocker. But here, we're the builder. I hope that makes sense to you guys. Understand again that you just don't hear this a lot from other people, but there are, in your market, there are a couple of contractors that are doing it differently and they have success. And if you start looking around, you'll start noticing that you can do this in your market. I know over 150 contractors across the country that are charging for estimates right now, 1,000, like 150 easily, that are charging for estimates all the time. It works. That's their go-to. There are thousands that are doing it. Okay. Let's see. Give me a second here. Lowest price wins. So you don't give free estimates, right? You sell or you offer a paid design planning session. Hopefully you've seen me go over that before. Remember, sales isn't about being slick. The key to doing remodeling is to become, if you're familiar with the healthcare industry, there's a thing called the advocate. And a lot of people, when they're having a health experience and they need someone to guide them through, a lot of hospitals and other places, they'll have an advocate that comes over and works with you and your family to help guide you through all the things that are going to be going on while you're getting this surgery or recovery. In remodeling, you want to be the homeowner's advocate to solving their home remodeling problem, right? Remember, the homeowner has the issue. Something has gone wrong in their house. They want it different than it is. You provide solutions. The homeowner at first may not be educated enough about the price, the process. So when you start helping educate them about the price, most likely they're going to be shocked about the price. And you're not the problem. The problem is they don't understand the price. So you just help educate them. You show them the cost versus value report that gets put out every year and shows industry averages for what things cost across the country, right? You educate the homeowner and you put the problem out in front of them and you offer to help solve the problem for the client, okay? So again, it's not about you lowering your profit. It's about you helping get the homeowner in line with what they're going to be investing in the project. And many homeowners, just like all of us, like I want to go out to certain restaurants sometimes and you look on the menu and you're like, oh, I'd like to have that. Yeah, let me have the shrimp. I want the lobster. I want the steak. I don't want to spend $500 either. So I end up picking like one thing. Same thing with your house. Yeah, the homeowner's going to tell you they want everything until they start hearing how much it costs. And then we get into, well, how much are you going to invest? And then let's help you get that. So maybe you can't afford everything today. I will help you get this because that's what you're willing to spend or invest, right? So homeowners need that. And again, don't get confused that you need to be discounting your price. That's not the way to go here. And look, nobody tells us this stuff when we get into business. You have to learn this on your own. Hopefully you survive long enough and have enough appointments where you learn this. But again, you're the guide, okay? When you show up at the homeowner's house, you're the guide to helping them solve their problem. And then the right clients will just start lining up with you. And you can ask AI to help rewrite your sales presentation. You can come in with notes and it'll help you stop competing on price and instead lead with confidence, explain the value that you bring, right? Discuss how you offer the paid planning process. And then here's Mr. and Mrs. Smith. You explain to them how you're going to go about doing that. So let me see if that's everything, guys. I think we're there. Yeah, the other thing is just be yourself. Let your personality show up. A lot of people think they have to be a certain way to be successful in contracting, and you don't. You want to be likable and trustworthy and relaxed. All right. And allow, I have my personality. I am not saying be like me. I'm saying be you. You have your own unique personality. Be that. But it's the things that you say and the way you say that you want to be careful about. All right. I think that's everything that we have for you tonight. So for homework, I would suggest you guys pick a myth that you, if you think something that you've believed for a long time to be true, ask yourself, maybe I was wrong about that. And that's okay to have that realization. Like for the longest time, I thought that in contracting, you had to give free estimates until I got tired of giving them. And then I was like, there was another guy that charged for estimates. And I was like, how does he fucking do that? And I was like, I'm going to learn how to do that. And once we turn the corner, you don't usually turn back. You keep going. The first couple might be challenging, but you'll get it. And you'll be like, damn, I should have been doing this 3 years ago. It's frustrating, but it's exciting at the same time. All right, that's everything I have. If anybody has any specific questions, pop it in there. Otherwise, we'll bounce and we'll be back another night. So if you have any questions, you got a client that you're not sure, you have an estimate you're putting together, you got an issue with an employee, be happy to address any of that stuff. All right, that might be it for tonight, guys. Appreciate you being here, and hopefully this content helped you out. And as always, we'll be back again another day. All right, take care. Thank you for being here. All right, you YouTubers. If you guys have any questions, feel free to pop it in there. I don't think you do. So look, if you're seeing this video and you come across it on YouTube, consider getting in over on TikTok. Pretty active over there. Anyway, the only difference is you can't see the screen. So, but at the same time, if you can always put comments in the chats. At some point we'll figure that part out. And what I mean is more people that watch on YouTube will start doing that. I'm not sure what's preventing people at the moment. All right, up the screen. And yeah, if anybody has any suggestions, we are, I have a plan for the balance of this 100-day challenge, but by all means, you can always reach out and there might be something I can cover in one of the videos coming up. All right. Thanks for being here. You guys have a good night. And if you're curious why I do this, so I have a nice monitor off to the side. The laptop's over here. That's where the camera is. But I have a larger monitor that I'm looking at that's over to the side. So that's why I'm usually a side profile. All right. You guys have a good night. See ya.